Alright, hello again, Justin Tucker here. We are moving along in a video tutorial series about creating a fictitious site and going over some basic Drupal 7 building concepts and how we can apply those to achieve what we want to build. So basically, we have laid out what we want our website to do at this point. We've got these 4 bullets here, and based on this information, I need to now start doing the next step that I preach, and that is identify needed content types. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. Content types needed. Alright. And the first one, we're naturally going to need a, a jobs available content type, and that is so that our item 1 here can allow companies to post jobs available for developers. So we need a content type that will collect that information. The other content type we'll need is we're going to need a jobs wanted. Okay, this is the other side of the fence. This is if there's a developer out there who wants to put his services forth and say, hey, I need a job. And that is going to be the form that collects that information. The other piece we need is a quote submission, which will be it's item number 4 here, where we can post bids, or maybe we want to call it bid submission, maybe not quote, bid. And again, this is going to be the form that collects the information for this item. And then the final one is for the customers or clients to be able to post what their project is to receive bids. So we'll call that project submission. Okay? And there we go. I've identified my content types. Now let's actually build them. Okay? To do so, you're going to find that this is going to happen under structure. And I'm going to open 2 tabs here so we can toggle back and forth. Under structure, you will see a link that says content types, and it will show you the 2 content types we have available, article and basic page. You saw this a moment ago when I clicked add content, article, basic page. So these are nothing more than forms that collect information. The best way I can illustrate to look at a content type would be pretend that your company is back before the time of computers and it's all paper-based. Anything that your business in that environment would need a form for, a piece of paper with fields on it, to me that is a content type. And if you're having a hard time trying to figure out what content types you need, then just imagine how would your business run if there were not computers and you had to go paper-based with file cabinets and papers. What types of forms would you order from the paper shop or form shop or wherever to run your business? And whatever that answer is, typically is going to be a good answer as to what the content types of your website should be. So in this case, I'm going to add a new content type, and the first one I identified was a jobs available form. We're not going to go into adding the fields right now. We're just going to go into adding the content type itself. And then in a later step, we're going to add the needed fields that we want to capture. So this will be a jobs available posting. And it's always good to document and write descriptions about what this is, even administratively. It'll help you or anybody that's working with you in the future. It'll save a lot of time and help them resolve whatever you're trying to fix. So this content type is for companies to post jobs available. And for the title, I typically like to have a practice of putting the content type name somewhere in the title, so like jobs available title. You don't have to do this. You can just leave it as title, but for my purposes, I enjoy putting the content type name somewhere in there so I know what type of title it is. And then right now we've got a few of these basic things. Publishing options. I typically undo this. I don't make use of this personally a lot, but if you do want to use this, Drupal kind of by default has a first page for you. I don't want to call it front page. I'll call it your first page. And by default, if you leave this checked, it doesn't matter what content type you create. If that's checked, then by default, any other instance of this jobs available posting, it's going to want to post on that front page. Again, I typically don't use that, but I do by default want this to be published when an instance of it is created. So basically, when another company wants to post a job, I am saying yes, I would like that post to be published immediately. Display settings. Do we want to display the author and the date information? Um, Sometimes that's annoying, but in this case, I'll say yes. The author in this case will be the company, and the date information will be when it was posted, so that might be helpful information. Comment settings. Again, on a per node basis, and that a node is Drupal speak for a piece of content or a page. On a per page basis, you can turn on or off comments or hide them. This is a setting asking by default, when you create a new jobs available posting, would you like comments to be on, open, closed, or hidden? That's kind of on, off, or hidden. In this case, we'll keep it simple and keep it closed. However, you could see the use case where maybe this is a great example where we want to give the opportunity for candidates to ask questions about the job posting, and through a comment thread, the company can answer those uh, comments or respond to them. And for this job posting, you can kind of create this custom comment thread with some discussion or questions around that job. So there could be use for this, but to keep it simple, we're going to turn the comments off. And then the menu settings. We'll get into menus and other building things later, but just leave this alone for right now. Leave it at main menu. And then save and add fields is typically logically the next step, because once we create the content type, now it's going to ask what are the fields you would like to attach to this content type. Again, going back to our paper example, we've got a form or a piece of paper with a label of a form of what it's going to be, and now we'll have to actually make the fields that you fill in to make this form complete. But right now we're just creating the content types we need, the shell of it, so I'm just going to hit Save Content Type. And there we go. It adds it to here. There is the description that I gave for it, and I understand what it is. And you'll notice if I hit Add Content, I have a new option. Okay, so we're going to go back and do this again for the next one, Jobs Wanted. Okay, so Jobs Wanted. I'm going to call it Posting. Content type for developers to post jobs they need or are qualified for. And I'm going to call this Jobs Wanted Title. Publishing options, the way I had it last time. Save that. A bid submission. Content type for submitting bids to prospective clients. Bid title. Again, this is kind of mundane now. If you have a very big site and you've identified more than 4, outstanding. You probably need them. And then we'll add the final one here, which is project submission, content type. Well, I can't spell content today. So content type for customers or clients to convey their project needs. And we're going to call this project title. Publishing options, display, leave that. Turn that closed, leave that. Okay. And we have saved our final content type that we needed. We are basically done with this step 1 right here. This step 1, identify needed content types. It's a very simple step in terms of, you saw how it was. We're basically just creating these, well, Drupal calls them entities. And an entity in Drupal is essentially anything you can attach fields to, which includes more than just content types. But this is a very, very important step. I know it looks simple, but it really kind of sets the stage for your next steps, and a lot of things cascade from here. So, in my humble opinion, identifying what those needed content types are is very, very important. And understand, I need this content type for this element of what I want my website to do. Again, the example I gave was pretend you're in a paper-only world. There's no computers. What forms would you have to run your business? And again, that answer is usually a good answer for what content types you need for Drupal. So I'm going to go ahead and end that here. Um, Basically, where we're at now is we have added 4 new content types. If I go to add content, I get the exact same list, but it just allows me to create these forms. You'll notice the next step is to identify categories. So I know we might be eager right now to dive into adding fields to these content types, but a step that I think you need to do before that is identify different categories, and we will learn more about that in the next video. As always, if you can subscribe, I appreciate it. Comments are always welcome, and if you have any questions, always know to ask. Thanks again. I'll see you on the next video.